And welcome to Breakin Broncos podcast. As always, I am your host, Dan Wetstein, and look who I brought with me. It is, as always, my co-host, Dylan Miles. We are back, people. How you doing, Dylan? It's been a minute. Tell the people how you been.
Doing pretty good. It has been a minute. What was it before? Right before training camp ended?
Yeah, just before training camp ended, and then the whole world decided to kick me in the groin. So now we're back.
All right, we are.
I have recuperated. The sack is back into the normal position. So we're gonna go ahead and rock and roll with the Broncos starting in Week 4. We sat here and watched a roller coaster ride. Is the best way I can describe these first 4 games. You have the ultimate start at the top, thinking everything's great. Then Seattle happens, smash down into our faces. They lost to the one team. Like, really, honestly, the 2 losses are the 2 games I could have absolutely loved to have seen them win.
Mm-hmm.
It was absolutely gut-wrenching to watch them lose. How was that Seattle loss for you? Was that the biggest loss of the season, or would you say more was Sunday against the Raiders?
I don't think that's the biggest loss of the season, because that one to me was that team, that whole offense, all the starters did not play a single snap in the preseason, while that whole Seattle team had time to get in rhythm, have a lot of time in the preseason to get to know each other. So they were a bit fresh going into the game. You know, they were a bit more experienced with that offense. And, you know, it's like Geno has been like Russ's backup. I forgot how many years now, if you remember. But
Geno has been there for 3 years now.
3 years. So, yeah, he knows the offense pretty well. So that was pretty easy for him. You know, he's right fit, knew everything going into the game. Russ, on the other hand, is still learning a whole new offense, and it was the first time they put it on the field. That's what I was explaining. I think I was no, it wasn't you. I forgot who I was telling it to. You know, it's whole new system. First time putting it together on the field. We did have that conversation, but I went into more depth with a dumbass. That's all I'll say. Leave it at that. But, you know, it was – I think it was inevitable. As much as I thought they were going to win, wanted them to win, it was inevitable in my opinion.
I don't want to say that it was inevitable. That first loss stung a lot because of the ending. If he would have let Russ cook on that 4th and 5 instead of trying to go for the 64-yard field goal, even if Russ failed, I don't think it would have stung as much, because it would have shown that the organization trusted the quarterback that they went out and sold the farm for.
And now we've seen more of that.
That was the biggest thing. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So, and now we're seeing more of that, which I'm very happy about. I think Russ is finally – I don't have the rundown, so I don't want to start topics that I don't know.
We're starting on the 2-2. Starting off, why did the team start so far below expectations?
Okay, then I won't go into the part I was going to go to. I got something for that. You know, starting 2-2 is a little rough, but I don't want to do the whole comparing thing because it's not the same thing, right? But, you know, it's a little bit of remnants back when Peyton started with the team. They started off 1-2 when he got here. You know, there were struggles through most of the season until about that midpoint when they hit the bye week and came out and started. Offense was clicking. The whole team was clicking. I think we'll get to a point, but I'm not sure if it's going to be midway through the season or later into the season. Yeah, but it's starting to show. It's starting to show. Sorry.
No, you're good. I think you are hitting on a point that people need to understand and they need to realize is a legitimate point, is the fact that this is a brand new team. Yes, there's a lot of holdovers that a lot of people in Broncos country recognize, the Cortland Suttons, Jerry Jeudy's, etc. But the biggest ones, the head coach, the offensive coordinator, defensive
Ownership.
coordinator, the owner, all of these things matter when it comes to starting out hot, especially when you don't play in the preseason. Now, I am not one of those yahoos that thinks that these injuries are because they didn't play in the preseason.
No.
I do believe, though, and I think it is born fruition for every team that did not play in the preseason, their offense has looked terrible through the first 4 weeks, which, again, how long is a normal preseason? 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And as you've seen with these Broncos, the offense has improved every single week. It has gotten better every single week. I mean, you can talk about 11-10 all you want, but when you look at that last drive of the game, that spurred on what happened in the Oakland game, where the offense looked the best as it has all season.
And you know what? One thing has to do with that, they're letting Russ use his legs finally. Let them run it. That's a big thing for me. But it was the offense is starting to click like we saw. We don't need to talk about the first drive. You know, there was a first down in there, but it wasn't 3 and out. That second drive, though, was a classic Russ drive. It was a bit of everything. There was the deep ball. There was the short, there was the runs. There was, him taking himself out on the boot and throwing it downfield. Everything that you see of classic Russ was there in that game. They just weren't able to put it together because it's not all there yet.
Yes, the majority of the issues with Russ's quote-unquote accuracy through the first 3 games was all about timing. He did not have timing with his receivers, which is also why his completion percentage has gradually went up every single week, culminating in a 68% completion percentage against the Oakland Raiders. So the accuracy is an overblown point. And another overblown point that I have seen from many in the industry is that Russell Wilson's the problem, that he has been inaccurate things. Again, they're using these as anecdotal evidence of what they've seen on tape, which I doubt half of them watch half of the tape that they claim they
they're only watching games.
Exactly. So whether you can take all they say in that vein, in that context. So please believe this offense is struggling not because the play calling is atrocious, even though it has been bad at some points. It is not nearly as atrocious as a lot of people like to try and make you believe. There's a lot of things to like from this offense, but it's so intricate. There's so many moving parts that it's going to take time for all of those moving parts to mesh together.
And you know what I was looking at, and I hate the comparison game, but this was a really good one in my opinion. It was when Shanahan first took over in Denver as head coach, which what year would that have been? 95?
Yes.
95. They didn't get off to a hot start. That team that made the playoffs didn't get off to a hot start. Is because, it was right after Dan Reeves has left. Sure, Dan Reeves ran a lot of the same things that Shanahan did because he coached under him. But it was a hybrid of a Dan Reeves offense to it's not Jimmy Johnson, is it? Oh, no. Oh. Head coach down in San Francisco back in the 80s.
Bill Walsh.
It was a mix of a Dan Reeves, Bill Walsh offense. And that's what it looks like out there, too. It's a lot of the same things. You're running the ball down your throat. We're running it that boot. We're throwing it downfield. But then we're also going to take some short plays. We're going to take our time and move the ball down the field. And I think it looked the best this week. We saw everything.
It's a lot. It's what we've said was going to happen. Hackett was going to take some of the things that Russell Wilson liked to do in Seattle and then mesh it in with the things he liked to do from Green Bay.
And this is so close.
An even better analogy that I like is the beginning of the Matt LaFleur in Green Bay genre, when everybody was talking about how Aaron Rodgers just looks so horrible in that offense, and he needed to, be let free and let Aaron Rodgers do Aaron Rodgers things. And after about 6 weeks, they started seeing the clicking. They started seeing how Aaron Rodgers started seeing how Matt LaFleur was protecting him by keeping him in the pocket.
And even bigger, Javonte had finally had gotten a feel of the offense.
Yeah, exactly. They had gotten it together. So that's another thing. Just like in that instance where the wide receiver and the quarterback had to get their cadence, get their timing back on point with a new offense, with a team that didn't allow them to play in the preseason. Very similar, right? All of these things come together.
And guess where that team
about
went?
4 to 6 weeks is what it took for them to really mesh together and start becoming what we see now as one of the best offenses in the league with one of the best quarterbacks. And that I do believe will happen here in Denver. Broncos country just has to be patient. They can't just try and run Nathaniel Hackett out of town after 4 games of inconsistent play. Again, new quarterback, new offense, new coach, new OC. All of that is brand new. They need time to gel, especially again, without any play in the preseason.
And you know what I really like seeing the connection? Obviously that Packers team went to the NFC Championship game where they obviously got dominated by San Francisco, but we'll leave that for another thing. But
and that team, I believe, started 2-3.
That team started 2-4, I believe. No, 3. No, 3. Because they ended up 13-3. You're right.
Yeah.
But
you said, they went on an 11-game winning streak after that first 5 games and
a dominant one at that.
To gel, that offense gelled. The defense held them together, and they were staying around 500 for those first 5 weeks. And then after that offense clicked and that defense kept playing the way that they were playing, that Packers team was scary until the NFC Championship.
And guess what? We're coming up on week 5. Well, I wanted to get another thing. When I brought up Javonte, and you brought up a good point of saying, especially when Javonte got into the mix, that the quarterback and the receivers were finally clicked. They were one. We started to see that a bit last week, but it's going to take more time with Court and Russ, because Cortland Sutton's definitely a different type of receiver than DK was. But they've been utilizing Jerry, and it's been so fun to watch. He's finally getting utilized in that slot, and for the amazing route runner he is, he's been getting a lot of these deep balls, and I've been really loving it. Sorry. But starting to see he's moving the ball to more receivers, but where are the tight ends?
Yeah,
we saw that in week 1, and we haven't seen it since.
Yeah. Eric Saubert, I think, is going to emerge as the top tight end, especially after some of the catches that he's made.
That touchdown was beautiful.
All-around tight end on the roster. Tomlinson probably blocks a little better than Saubert, and Albert O and Greg Dulcich might be a little bit more physically imposing than Saubert, but Saubert is the best all-around guy. He's just that jack of all trades, and his after-the-catch ability reminds me of a Kelsey and a Kittle. He has that after-the-catch type of ability. He's just that nasty downhill runner once he gets the ball.
And you know what? He moves like...
Sorry, real quick. I want to give a shout out. I do see we have some people in here gave us some love. Darren, appreciate that love, bro. Everybody else, make sure you hit that like button when y'all come in. It's free for y'all, but it is priceless for us. Go ahead, man.
I was going to say, a lot of what Eric Saubert reminds me of, the way he moves, his feet kind of look like a Rob Gronkowski to me. I just watching the footwork,
nimble,
not
similar.
not like everything. I'm not saying he's like every aspect, but the footwork is amazing. Yeah, I don't think I've ever paid attention to a footwork on a tight end before.
In the run game is the thing that stands out. The way he blocks in the run game, he's not just throwing his body out there. Unlike an Andrew Beck who completely whiffed on Max Crosby. So speaking of this,
oh my God, I didn't want.
Why is Andrew Beck on this roster?
I don't know.
I know after that catch in week 1, I'm like, this is why he's on there, but he hasn't done anything since. So I have to.
He hasn't even.
What is he? He doesn't block. There's been so many plays where he's left either Melvin Gordon or Javonte Williams in the backfield to get blasted because he missed the linebacker. Then on Sunday, he almost gets Russell Wilson's head taken off by Max Crosby, not once, but twice by missing blocks on the outside. How is he in one-on-one situations with Max freaking Crosby, the best defender on the Raiders?
Why are we moving?
Infuriating.
You know, the one thing is, why aren't we moving Saubert over there, or why aren't we moving Alberto over there?
Why are we not having a tackle on Max?
I don't want a tackle. What does it say? If we're gonna have a tight end on Max Crosby, why is the hell is it Beck if it's gonna be a tight end? Like if it's gonna be a tight end, which I agree
Eric
with
Tomlinson, who's a mountain of a man.
Right.
He's like 260, 270. But even then, I don't like that. I don't like it. If you're gonna double team with a tight end and like do a double team block with Cam Fleming on the outside, that's fine. But one-on-one with Andrew Beck, the smallest tight end who also plays fullback, is supposed to block Max Crosby.
And like it's hypothetically, if it has to be a tight end, why is it Beck? Why isn't it, like you said, a Tomlinson or even an Albert O, even a Saubert? Anybody but Beck.
Can at least throw 250 pounds.
They can buy more time, is what the point is. I'm trying to get to. You can at least get a second for Russ to move up in the pocket before he collapsed on him.
Dude, he didn't even touch Max Crosby.
No, he went out for his route.
Untouched.
It was completely blown.
It was the most egregious blocking mistake by a professional blocker. That's essentially what he's a fullback. If you are a fullback, you are a professional blocker.
Now, if you had a Howard Griffin out on that edge, that's a different story.
Yeah, that is your one dang job. And you can't even just like throw yourself at his knees. You're in the tackle box, bro. It's legal. Like it might not be the nicest thing, but it's at least just fall in his way, make him jump over you.
And I ain't one to recommend chop blocking on anybody.
Huh?
I ain't trying to recommend chop blocking to anybody, but
I'm not either. But I'm saying at least fall on the ground in front of him, make him jump over you, give an extra
buy some time, buy a second or two, let Russ move up.
I'm not saying go after the knee. I'm just saying at least fall down in front of him or something.
That's another improvement.
Completely Olay, one of the best pass rushers in the game.
And you know what I noticed?
You got to at least put a hand on the man.
What I noticed is the offensive line looks so much better when they have everybody up front. When they go into those throwing situations, when they start to lose men on the inside, when you don't utilize the tight ends on the edge, or if it's just Russ alone in the backfield, that's where I've seen those weak points in that line. Especially at where else other than right tackle.
Speaking of the line, the Raiders absolutely exposed
that defensive line. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're the greatest thing. They are a great defensive line, but that Broncos offensive line made them look like the best defensive line in the league.
Max Crosby is very good. The rest of that defensive line is just a bunch of guys.
Yeah, Chandler Jones in there. Sure, he's towards the end of Chandler Jones is towards the end of his career, but he'll still kill a man on the line.
Yeah, he can still do some things. But, I mean, he did nothing. It was all Max Crosby and their corner.
Defensive AFC player of the week, right? Like, there's no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, Max Crosby went on. He had 2 sacks.
And I love that guy, too. That's why it hurts so much worse, because I like Max Crosby, dude. He's just a class act for a horrible team that I hate.
Again, I don't like the fact that he's getting one-on-ones with
quote-unquote Andrew Beck. Yeah.
Andrew freaking Beck and Mike Boone. Like,
when the hell are we going to talk about Melvin?
Here?
Because I need to get this off my chest.
We're almost there. First up, we got Nathaniel Hackett. And speaking of people improving, we were talking about Russ and how he was making that move on up to being the Russ that they traded for. So here is Hackett talking about Russ improving.
I think he's definitely starting to get a feel for everything. I think that he's doing a good job getting the ball out and also stepping up in the pocket, moving around. He's using his feet and being able to find people down the field. The run game, we just got to get that going a little bit earlier. There were some good ones, but just not consistent enough. And then as we slowly mesh all that stuff together, it'll be even better.
Lost my cam.
Yep, I saw that when we put it away. But we'll let Tim work on that. Well, I'll go ahead and discuss about what. I dropped myself out. My bad. All right. So what Hackett is talking about here is exactly what we were talking about, that this offense is new, that Russ is learning his role within the offense, and that going forward, as these things mesh, this defense is going to be scary.
Offense.
Sorry. Offense.
We'll get to the defense, dude. I have some words for EJ Evero, dude.
But yes, once the offense gels, I apologize, and the defense goes back to where they were before Oakland.
Yeah,
Oakland. I just said Oakland, Las Vegas.
That shows you the hate we have for that organization.
In a minute, we're gonna get back on this horse and we're gonna ride. I promise you.
That shows you the hate that every Broncos fan has towards that organization.
Yes, and the fact that the Broncos gave Josh McDaniels his first victory since his last win with the Broncos against the New England Patriots in 2011.
The 5-0 start. What a collapse, dude. What a collapse.
Yeah. Well, no, this was actually the 4-12 finish. They had the 4.
Oh, that's right. He had a whole season.
He had a whole season, and then he got into the second season.
And then there was the filming the Niners in London.
Or no, he got to 2-4, filmed in London, and then was fired. And he had not won a game as a head coach since then until Sunday. So, do you believe in what Hackett is saying? Do you believe that this is more coaching or execution by the players when it comes to how bad this offense has been?
You know, I do like the points he made in there. I think that's probably one of my favorite press conferences by him, because I did listen to that after the game. There are a lot of good points in. You know, what I like is he's taking accountability, unlike other coaches that start with a V and end with an F. You know, he takes accountability, and I like that. I like that they brought in, I forgot the coach's name that they brought in to help him out.
It's Bryce something or other. But the coach that's specifically there to make sure that Hackett doesn't go for it on 4th and short when he shouldn't, essentially. And then give it to Russ on the 4th and 5s when he should. So,
but I do like that. That was a great move, because we've seen the improvement.
I love the fact that he is willing to get outside help, that he is not so up his own butt, I guess is the best way to put it, that he does it, that he's not willing to realize that there are things he needs to learn. He is a first-time coach, but he is willing to do that. He's willing to go outside of the organization, not just the guys he brought in, not just his yes men. He's willing to go out and get a guy that has absolutely no ties to him and has no issue saying, yo, idiot, don't do that. And he did it in the 11-10 win against San Francisco. At the end of the game, Hackett was going to go for it on 4th and inches instead of kick it. And the guy came over and was like, dude, your defense is balling out.
Yeah.
Just get the points and let your defense play. And guess what happened? Hackett said, okay, I won't do it. He kicked it.
PJ Lock, baby.
Yes. Learning from mistakes. How many times have every pundit, not only in Denver, but across the nation, sit there and talk about how Fangio was so set in his ways because he was the old grandpa that was refusing to listen to outside help. Everybody talked about that when Fangio was here. But now Hackett does
and then they criticize
and all of a sudden it's a problem. Yes, they criticize Hackett for doing it.
And, you know, this is I have the problem with fans nowadays, because sure, like, obviously I want to win now. You want to win now. We all want them to win now. But people don't get that. You can have the greatest lineup, like the greatest roster in the history of the NFL, but if you don't practice these things, if you don't click, things aren't going to happen. But we're seeing things starting to click, and people are just hitting the panic button, trying to run Hackett out, trying to run Russ out. It's to the point where it's, how much of a fan are you if you don't get these things? Right. Broncos fans have been through all these
Saints
seasons.
Fan, guys, right here.
Yeah, this is a Saints fan.
He has time. It's only week 4. Okay,
week 4, and we're going to Thursday Night Football against the Colts, which, don't get me wrong, not like they're not the worst team in the league, but they're not the best team.
They're not world beaters either, and it's a short week, which makes me hopeful that Nathaniel Hackett will be able to dumb it down. And that's the biggest thing that we need him to learn from, is that this offense is new. They're learning. Try not to be so cutesy. Don't do all of the movement. Yes, movement's great. All of us have talked about how it was absolutely annoying to watch the stagnant offenses of Shermer and then watch the absolute buffoonery that goes on in Kansas City with Mahomes and company with their constant movement and everything. Well, he's doing it now, and it's great. I don't want him to stop. But sometimes he just gets a little too cute in big situations.
And you know where you saw that?
Like Sunday, where he ran an end around on a 3rd and short, instead of just handing it off to Javonte Williams
up the middle,
or going for a QB sneak,
where he's the best. Javonte's the best at. Oh man, I feel so bad for that guy, because he's so good.
Yes,
hey, comeback player of the year. I'm calling it now. Next year, comeback player of the year.
I don't hate it. I don't hate that take at all. I really don't. Even this early, it's a definite possibility, because he's got to come back angry. He's going to want to win angry runs every single
And, day. By then, they're going to drop Melvin's ass. by the end of the season, if
Oh, they
not by
have
trade
to.
week. By,
If it
by
wasn't for the
trade
fact
deadline.
of Javonte getting hurt, which we'll get into here in just a minute, I believe Melvin Gordon would have been gone this week.
Yeah.
I do believe he would have been cut this week
Mhm.
after the fact that he had 0 touches before his first touch, which we all know went for a fumble return for a touchdown.
Oh man, and
a fart, as Chris whatever his name is, Jalen Rose's partner, Chris Rose or whatever his name is, calls it a fart. It's kind of funny.
But,
or he says a pick six should be a taint. I thought that was pretty funny too. The touchdown after interception.
Touchdown after interception. Yes. That is, I do like that. But
pretty good.
But looking at Javonte gone, it sucks obviously, but there is a bright spot. Mike Boone, baby, we got to see him. We saw him get on the field, and for the little reps he had on that field, he put up some numbers. Not the greatest numbers for the little time, but
as well. In just a moment, once we start talking about the Javonte Williams injury,
ugh.
I know all of y'all are on pins and needles because you want to talk, because I do have some inside information on some potential replacements for him, and there's a couple that might be a little bit exciting for y'all. So make sure you stay tuned. We will get to that here in just a moment.
If it involves a certain native, I can't wait to hear.
If it
involves a certain native of Colorado, I'm glad to hear it. Not the one that everybody else wants. Not that dumbass. A different one.
I got you. Probably going to let you down a little bit on that.
Which this is a long shot.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what your long shot is. I want you to hold on to that. I want to hear where you're thinking, because none of what I'm going to give is definitive.
Get some info on
other than the practice squatter that's more than likely going to be moved up.
I do want to talk about him.
So, essentially, real quick before we move on to the next topic, I think we've kind of hit this on the head, but just to be clear with everybody, have you seen improvement from week to week offensively?
Yes, I have. Let me get this white off my screen. I'm looking up contract information. I definitely have. Week 1 was slow. Week 2 was very, very slow. Week 3 was very slow again until that last drive, baby. That was a classic Russ drive. I think I texted you that. I was like, that is classic Russ. Or it was you or me. I don't remember who. One of us.
One of us. I don't have my phone, but one of us said it.
It was a classic Russ drive, and to see it start to mesh in week 4, which it did, there was a lot of scoring, which was very good, and it wasn't field goals. It was touchdowns. That Cortland Sutton touchdown in the back of the end zone was that's the peak of that red zone offense that we have been waiting to see.
Yes.
That's where they're going to utilize Court, and Russ is going to get it to him one-on-one in that corner.
We saw a lot more of it. Yeah, we saw a lot more of it
with Jerry,
on Sunday.
Baby. With Jerry.
You got to see Russ cook. You got to see him use his legs in with that zone read that he did to get that rushing touchdown.
Yes.
Bro, he fooled everybody, inclling the cameraman.
Nobody
realized he had it until he was in the end zone.
It was like the Peyton touchdown in Dallas.
Almost. Yeah, almost as good. Almost as good. Not quite as wide open.
Yeah, but I was saying, it faked everybody out. Nobody thought.
Handoff,
yeah.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So, yes, watching Russ cook, get them legs involved, and then that absolute, he showed off the arm. He showed off that deep ball. KJ Hamler.
Oh, dude, KJ's back, baby.
On one catch. Man had one catch for 55 yards and was the leading
KJ's back.
For the Broncos.
That they better be utilizing him in Indy, because that Indy secondary is going to have a problem if they let KJ get off to a good start.
100% agree. 100% agree. And you can see down here at the bottom, these are Russell Wilson's stats from the Raiders. They're actually fairly good, and they show how dominant the Broncos actually were.
But
it's
people
just
see
the
that
bad
L.
juju, the fart. I think that is the most apropos way to put that.
There's a explicit version, I would say, but not here.
Yes, yeah, but the fart by Melvin Gordon, that changed the game. The Broncos were never the same after that.
Dude, they had momentum until he boofed that ball, dude.
Yeah, in a game that the game was never out of hand. The Broncos were never out of it until the last minute of the game. They had a total of 20 carries. Half of those carries came from Javonte Williams in the first half. 10. Half of those carries came in the first half, and then he hurt himself. Well, I'm sorry, 9 came in the first half. He hurt himself on the 10th carry on the first drive of the second half. So
Dude,
that
that
was
sucks.
infuriating, especially the second half where the game was closer in the second half than
They were only down by 3.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how are you not running the rock? Like, I understand after Javonte Williams got hurt, you didn't really have that number one running back. But Boone was averaging over 6 yards per carry.
Dude, Boone's a dog, and a lot of people don't realize that because I don't know why these people have such a hard on for Melvin Gordon after he fumbles like that.
I don't either, and it's absolutely infuriating. And
I wouldn't be surprised if they cut his ass by trade deadline.
Yeah, trusting who will replace Javonte Williams, because those of you that don't know, Javonte Williams tore his ACL and LCL on Sunday. So his season is over. Broncos are going to be looking for a replacement. And in the game, you got an idea of who was going to be the one to take over the majority of snaps, and it was not Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon had 0 touches before his fumble. That was his first touch. He did not have another touch until the fourth quarter where he got 2 more. He had a total of 3 touches in the entire game, even after Javonte Williams got hurt. Mike Boone, on the other hand, played over 70% of the snaps after the Javonte Williams injury and took almost 90% of the touches after the Javonte Williams injury. And we even saw on the last play of the game for the Broncos, it was Mike Boone up the seam that Russell Wilson got to, and he dropped it, unfortunately. That might be the one bugaboo for Mike Boone, and it's probably why these next couple of guys that we're going to talk about are probably more likely to be on the roster than not. Right now, according to our insider, I'm going to go ahead and say his name now. I think everybody needs to know. It's Kamaje Granderson. If you do not know who this man is, go on over to Twitter, look up KJ the GOAT. That man, he's got some inside information. He knows what he's talking about, and he is our man. Probably on the inside. He informed us today that the talk is that they are going to bring up a Zigbo, who was a preseason darling. He was actually the most efficient running back in the preseason for the Broncos. So he is going to be called up before Thursday to fill a roster spot. But he said, and these are names that I thought were interesting. For me, when it came to the Browns, when he mentioned the Browns, my first thought was like, oh, he's going to be talking about Dearness Johnson, right? That seems like the most gettable running back.
And he was very good against the Broncos last year.
He was. But even better was there's possible rumors that they are looking at a Kareem Hunt to replace Javonte Williams.
Dude, okay. I know it's not set down, but dude, that is...
Yeah, it is nothing in stone. I'm going to be absolutely clear. These are just rumors that are up in the air. These are what is being discussed in the building. This can always change. Like I said, I believe Dearness Johnson's more gettable, but he assures me that they are looking at a guy like a Kareem Hunt to replace Javonte Williams for the remainder of the season.
That's just Javonte Williams Jr.
Yes. Another name that excited me and was one I was hoping to hear was being discussed, and that is Alexander Mattison from the Minnesota Vikings, the backup for Dalvin Cook. Now, that's probably the longest shot because of the health issues with Dalvin Cook. It's going to take a lot to pry Madison from the Vikings, probably more than Peyton is going to be willing. But I do believe that the Browns are going to be willing to trade at least one of their stable of running backs out of the top 3 of Chubb, Johnson, and Hunt. Again, to me personally, I believe Johnson's the most gettable, but Kamaje assures me that Hunt is a legitimate possibility.
Kareem Hunt.
Possibility. I think that would probably be the best. If they could pull that off,
best option.
Kareem Hunt's a starting running back in this league. I mean, honestly, I would throw
look
them
at the
probably...
season. Him and Nick Chubb have had splitting reps. Imagine he gets 100 like when he was in Kansas, like 90 to 80% of the reps like when he was in Kansas City.
Yes, exactly. And he's a complete back. He's like Javonte Williams. He's not as powerful as Javonte Williams, but he's actually faster, shiftier, and an even better receiver out of the backfield. He is a true 3-down running back. So I say throw a Melvin Gordon, a 3rd rounder this year, and like a 7th rounder next year. How does that not get you Kareem Hunt? He's in
that gets you Kareem Hunt easy. And you know what? Why not on top of it? No, never mind. I was going to make a joke, but I was going to But there was one running back I was thinking of for a trade deadline too, like a Kareem Hunt, is a Christian McCaffrey. They have an out on his contract this year.
They do,
but with the injuries, that's why.
Yeah, the only thing that keeps Panthers fans in the stands at this point, I think, is Christian McCaffrey. So I think they want to keep selling tickets. If they get rid of McCaffrey, that's just a white flag. They're saying the season's over. If they trade McCaffrey, it's done. That's their franchise right there.
Mm-hmm. The only reason I was thinking why is
I would love to see it, but I don't think the Broncos would have enough cap room, though.
No.
I think that might be they would have to eat a lot of his salary, and that would cause the Broncos to have to give up, I think, a little too much.
Exactly.
To get him.
That the only reason I thought that was because I was like, "There's an out on his contract."
That would be the.
I know they said they've considered moving away with him before.
Yes.
I was saying it's a long shot, but that would be one I would love if he stays healthy.
Do some amazing things.
I've seen Peyton do some. I've seen Peyton do some stuff that I didn't know was possible.
Right. I mean, look at what he had to give up to get Russ. Like, yes, he gave up a lot, but nothing near what people thought he would have to give up for him.
Bro, I thought he was going to have to give up half the roster.
Every stop, every contract he's had signed, every trade he's made. It's always been talked about how Peyton won the day. The Jonas Griffith trade, the Stephen Weatherford trade. I mean, you just keep going. Mike Boone at this point looks like a heck of a get in free agency.
Oh, dude, you remember when we were watching Mike Boone last year? When we were watching Mike Boone last year in the Kansas City game when Melvin fumbled the bag again, and they threw him in that running back too. And I remember sitting there watching. I was like, "Damn!" We thought it was Javonte. Is the madman running up the field breaking tackles, and then we see that 26 fall to the ground. We go, "That was Mike Boone."
So you have heard who we would like to see, who we would trust.
No, Kareem Hunt,
but
100%.
Does Hackett trust the main guy on the roster everybody wants to see? Let's listen.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, you can't put the ball on the ground. I mean, it's that simple. We always say take care of the ball. That's the most important thing. And, it's not like he's trying to do it. We understand that, but we just have to be even better with our ball security across the board. The other guys did a good job, and, Melvin had that one.
I like that. I do like that.
So that doesn't sound like he trusts.
No. But you know what I think why he doesn't trust him anymore? He gave him opportunities and he fumbled the bag every time.
Yep.
That's what I like Hackett for. He kept giving opportunities, but there's going to be a limit to them.
Yes.
And that's why I think we're going to see Mike Boone starting at running back this week.
I do believe that Mike Boone gets the majority, and I do believe Ozigbo comes in, and I think
that's what I want
more
to
touches
see.
than Melvin Gordon.
I want to see
Ozigbo has a lot of things to like. He runs hard. He runs quick. He's got a little bit of shiftiness, but he's got a lot of power too. So he gives you kind of that Javonte Williams kind of effort, but just a little bit light. So Javonte Williams,
but more speed. He's got more speed.
A lot more speed. And speaking of taking accountability, I do want to also let Melvin Gordon give his piece on the fumble and let him speak to you all and let you hear how he viewed what he did on Sunday.
Just got to be better, man. Ain't no excuse for it. I don't want to get up here and tell you anything that ain't right. I just got to be better.
Now, I will say, I like that. That is the first time I have ever seen Melvin Gordon humble. Every other time it's just been about, I just got to do better. There's always been a bravado. He actually walked off in tears.
He could have walked up there and started spitting lies like he would before. Yeah. And I do like that. And you know what I would like to see? Him recover from it. I don't hate Melvin Gordon like as much as I dog on him, trash on him. I don't hate him.
I don't hate him.
He's in the league for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't trust him. Earn my trust back. Earn my trust back. That's all I want to see.
Do it,
and earn
Hackett's trust. Do it small samples at a time.
And I think we're going to see him in those indie games. And I don't think we're going to see him get as much of the snaps. So I think he's going to try and make as much as he can with them. I'm not saying he's going to.
He needs to earn it in practice. He needs to have. And I mean, the saddest part is he spent all week last week staying after practice with fumble drills.
Mm-hmm.
And then the first chance he gets, he just coughs it up in the worst way possible. And again, it completely swung that game. The Broncos were driving.
They were driving. It was right off of the onside kick.
Will. Yes.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't. No. It was the Montreal punt. Montreal return.
Montreal return back.
Dude, oh my God, can we talk about him? Dude, can we talk about the bright spots?
We will talk. Yes, that is the thing we will get into next. We were talking about. So what it looks like from us, we want. It's going to be a Zigbo internally. A Zigbo is going to come up this week. So if you're a fantasy player, don't grab a Zigbo. Grab Boone. Boone is going. Don't grab Gordon. Don't grab a Zigbo. Grab Boone. Boone's going to get the majority of the snaps.
I wonder what reps he took today in practice.
I am, because I had Javonte Williams and Jonathan Taylor on the same team.
Were gonna get your ass kicked this week.
Man, I got my butt handed to me. I lost to my wife this weekend because both of my running backs got hurt. Oh,
I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't have Swift for a few weeks.
Yeah, no, and also speaking of another injury, Randy Gregory's, we got some confirmations. Looks like he's not out for the season, but he is going in for a knee scope and will miss several weeks. We don't have an exact time frame, but it looks like at least a month the Broncos are going to be without Randy Gregory, and they've lost Javonte Williams for the season. So
now those guys got to step up. Randy Gregory did. I don't care if it sucks that he gets hurt. But so far, that money is well worth spent with what he's been putting up on the field.
He has been an absolute beast so far.
You can dog on him all you want for the injuries, but whenever he's on the field, he's a presence. Dude, there were so many missed hold calls on him yesterday. Did you not notice some of those? He's getting grabbed and tackled to the ground because he is on Derek Carr.
Yeah,
dude, he was on him
all
game.
Yet Garrett Bowles can get called for barely tugging. It was infuriating. Yes, the Raiders were able to tackle our defensive linemen, but if our linemen so much as tugged at the jersey, it was an immediate flag. It was infuriating.
Dude,
when it came to the inconsistent.
Randy Gregory was all over Derek Carr yesterday, and so was Bradley Chubb. Dude, Bradley Chubb is having hell of a comeback season.
Yes, he is finally. I was talking about this at my graduation party yesterday. Yes, everybody, I graduated. I made it. I am officially a bachelor that is married and a full-on oxymoron. So
let's go, baby.
Yeah, there it is. Chubby Chub.
I got this as rookie year.
He has taken, outside of the Oakland game, which was a little bit disappointing, he took over the second half of games against Seattle, San Francisco, and I am now blanking on the other people that we beat. Houston. There we go. Yes, those 3 games, he absolutely took over.
You know what this reminds me of? Not even 2020 Chubb, and that's what a lot of people like to talk about was 2020, and that wasn't even his best year. His best year was his rookie season with Vaughn. And most of the time, Vaughn's not even near the quarterback on those sacks. His potential has been there. We've seen it. The injuries started to add up.
Same thing with Gregory.
But now coming back, man, he's looking amazing. And I'm so happy he's back out there. He had a sack healthy. Now.
Let's see. We got another quick, or they could pick up Hamler and drop him.
You see, I got a little mad about that. Play was well over, and he just picks up KJ and slams him to the ground in front of the referee. The referee was staring at him, and no flag.
No flag. I mean, it honestly looked like the ref. I mean, I know that they don't. I know
McDaniels cheats,
but it looked really bad on these refs. There were so many pass interferences. Like you said,
dude, that roughing the passer.
Dude, yes.
Crosby picks him up and throws him.
Yes. I was like, how the hell there was nobody within 5 yards of us. It was a
throw. The ball had been out for more than 3 seconds.
Yeah, I'll explain the play that you're talking about. It was the play where Russ ran out to the left on a bootleg, threw the ball with nobody within 5 yards of him. And then the defensive tackle, Jonathan Hankins, runs 5 yards, picks up Russ and throws him right in front of the ref, and there was no call.
And into none other than the Raiders sideline.
Right. I'm like, that's the things that was like, dude, how did you miss that?
And you know what I'm liking about Russ, dude? He's toughened up, and I'm all that humbleness, all the fun, lovey Russ. It's starting to go away, and I want to see pissed Russ this Thursday.
I do too.
Slinging balls in Indy.
Pissed Russ after a loss. Now, the one thing that did rub me wrong was the trading of jerseys with Derek Carr and smiling for pictures.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I mean, you can call it petty, you can call it old school, you can call it old head all you want. But if you lose, like, yes,
Dude,
be
you
a
don't see
good
Brady
loser.
doing
Don't be
that
a
when
sore
he gets
loser, but
when he loses.
you can't be with the Raiders, bro.
With the
Any
Raiders.
other team, almost. But
You
the
know, I'll
Raiders,
give
the
him a little
Chiefs,
bit
the
of slack.
Chargers, you can't do that.
I'll give him like this much slack real quick. Because he's new, right? He knew. He doesn't really know what the rivalry means yet. He doesn't really
But he
know what
should
it
with
means
the
yet.
AFC,
But
like-
he should, right? But like he doesn't really know, right? Because it's new conference, new division, but still, Derek Carr.
Right.
Dude, that jersey's gonna be worth nothing in 5 years.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure he didn't take the jersey because he gives a damn about whether or not it's going to be worth anything. It was more about Derek Carr getting a Russell Wilson jersey than the other way around.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like, why do you want that?
I'm sure
to
that's
begin with?
gonna end
Just
up
give
in
him
like
your
a-
jersey and leave.
Right. I think it's going to end up in a storage locker or something. But yeah, exactly like you said. Like, you're not hanging that anywhere.
Yeah,
So
that's
why
going
are
in
we
the trash
posing
or
for
it's sitting
pictures
in.
and smiling. I didn't like that. Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, I'm not gonna rail Russell Wilson for it, but it's just those like.
So that's what I'm saying. I give him a little bit.
I need you to learn. I need you to learn a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit, but I need you to learn from it. Like, we still need to bring it up. We still need to make sure you understand.
And you need to go shove that ball down Derek Carr's throat next time we play them.
You better, especially since it's going to be in our house.
Dude, I want to see Russ run for 100 yards, pass for 300.
Right. We need to see some ball. And I think that this week with them because they're going to have to go back to basics. It's a truncated week. They only got 4 days to get ready for a game. So
and I think
really
this is going to
back to basics, run the ball, play action, let Russ take those shots downfield because we've seen KJ still got the 4-3 in the knee, baby.
KJ
still has the 4-3 in the knee.
Dude, I was so happy when I saw him line up out there for that play. I was like, oh, dude, it's going deep.
See him just streak.
Dude, you literally,
it's cushion and
it's immediate. He's off the screen, off the snap. He's that fast. He didn't lose a step, bro. He got the Bo Jackson whatsoever. Injury, and he didn't lose a single step.
People laughed when he said that I feel faster in the offseason. He might be.
He might be running a 4-2.
He might be. That was an absolute streak down the sideline.
And the layout for it. I don't think I've ever seen KJ lay out for a ball like that, even at Penn State.
At Penn State, I definitely did.
Oh, okay. No, I maybe went a little far.
But yes, in Penn State, he definitely
KJ at Penn State was so special. I remember seeing a highlight of him. I go, I would love for the Broncos to get that guy, and then lo and behold, third round.
That guy's he ran a low 4.3. He almost ran a 4.2.
Dude, if he was at the combine, he would have broke the record.
Yeah, he was insane. Like the speed that he had was absolutely is absolutely insane. And we got to see that he still has it. That was the one thing everybody wanted to see from Hamler. And they got it.
I'm sorry,
and that is an absolute breath of fresh air. So
KJ is my favorite receiver on the team, hands down.
I do love KJ.
I love KJ.
Cortland's my favorite. He's also on my fantasy teams, but I did pick up KJ. So
I have one Broncos player in my fantasy team.
You got Judy, don't you?
No, I got Alberto. He's sitting on my bench.
Oh, that's right.
He's sitting on my bench for Waller. Waller got me points this week, and I lost.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least you got Waller. So
that's the rough one. It's like we gotta play the Raiders. I need Waller to have a good game, but I want them to lose.
Since we've been touching on the Thursday night game, what are your keys to victory?
Keys to victory: ball handling. Ball handling is the big one. Ball security. Yep, ball security. Another one is the line needs to hold. Now you're not going. Now I'm not saying it's like we're going up against that San Francisco front line on that defensive front line.
They were good against San Francisco, which is
I know they were good against San Francisco. And dude, I don't care what anybody says.
San Francisco.
I don't care what anybody says. That is the best defensive line in the league. San Francisco, hands down. Since that Super Bowl,
you can definitely make
they literally haven't lost a step since. The defense may have fell off, but that line hasn't. Yeah, now you go against that Raiders D line.
Defensive backs are suspect, but yeah, that defensive line is legit.
Yeah. I was gonna say that. I was gonna say the backs are bad now.
Yeah, the defensive backs aren't that great, but yeah,
and the O line's got to be pissed, man. You just got your ass handed by a Raiders defensive line. That's probably what were they 20?
That was ranked 30th in the league.
30th in the league. 30th in the league. You're going to go into Indy. I don't know what Indy's ranked. I think they're, what are they, 28,
They
29?
were in the top half of the league, I think.
Were they top half? Okay, so it's not like you're not going up against a bad D-line. But I bet you Garrett Bowles is pissed.
Colts defense is legit. I mean, they just beat the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They did just beat the Chiefs.
They're the only team to beat the Chiefs so far.
So, but I mean, like, Garrett Bowles has got to be pissed.
Yeah.
Dalton Reiser has to be, like, that whole line just has to be PO'd. And I bet you they are
Denver is actually ranked third. How about that one for defense? Even after Sunday, they are still ranked third in the league.
You love to see it.
Where is Indy? Wow, maybe they are a lot lower than I thought. Well, where is Indianapolis? Sorry. Looking here, guys. I will find them eventually. Colts. There they are. Actually, they're ranked 10th or 9th. So
Okay,
they're top 10 defense like I thought they would be. They are legit. Darius Leonard in the middle of that defense is legit. Their defensive backs. Defensive
that's
line,
a guy
legit.
I wish you could have on that defense. Is a
Malik
Darius
Hooker,
Leonard.
one of the greatest names in all of pro sports. the safety for them is
It's
an absolute
such a great
beast.
name, dude.
It is. It really is.
Dude, you know what I didn't even realize? That we have what I just forget his name. The old Colts linebacker, the animal that was on that Super Bowl team.
He's on the Broncos?
His son's a defensive back for the Broncos now. Oh, Robert Mathis's kid.
Oh, yes.
Dude, he's a
Damari
dog,
Mathis.
dude. When he went in there,
Damari
dude, he
Mathis
balled
is
out.
Legit. Yes. I completely spaced that was Robert Mathis's son.
Yeah, I saw Mathis and I go, wait a second. Is that Robert Mathis's kid? Because Robert Mathis is an animal. And his son's
him and who was Dwight Freeney. Him and Dwight Freeney were a freaking beastly combination on the defensive line.
That Colts D. A lot of people only remember that team because of Peyton, but that D was insane.
Very much so. Yeah, Indianapolis, they are top 10 in everything except sacks. And
now here's what I'm concerned going into this game.
And they're 11th in sacks.
Gotcha.
So,
I got some concerns because they're going to Indy. It has nothing to do with the fans, nothing to do with the players. It has to do with the field conditions and its turf. You know how many turf injuries are coming up again this season? I was so nervous in week 1. Dude, how come it isn't? Dude, AstroTurf was definitely way safer than this new shit. Oh, excuse me.
It's all right. Yeah, because it's cheap.
Yeah.
It's cheaper. You don't have to water it. You don't.
Dude, AstroTurf, it was a rug essentially, and it was safer.
Even the new turf that they had, the new feel real turf or
the
real
flex,
turf.
I forgot what it's called. Yeah.
It doesn't feel real.
But I think the Indy turf. Indy has probably the better turf more than any other team in the NFL.
The best that they can get.
Yeah,
I guess when it comes to turf.
Because I think what was I seeing? It's like that one that imitates grass, where it's the hybrid.
Yeah. It's like I think it's called real turf.
Dude, did you see North Carolina? Dude, the Panthers stadium went from grass to
turf.
Yeah,
it's called real turf.
Yeah, did you see that? I was watching the Cardinals-Panthers game during the halftime of the Broncos game. Carolina switched their field from grass to turf.
Yes, they went to that.
Why?
Real turf. Because again, it's cheap.
I know.
That's when you know you have a cheap owner.
I know.
Okay, if you're in a place
it's what I hope.
Okay, Carolina is green as it gets. I don't know if any of y'all been to Carolina.
Sure, it gets cold there.
Carolinas, north or south, it doesn't matter. The whole state is green.
It gets cold, but it stays green.
Yeah. How do you justify not growing grass in a green state? I get, not even Arizona. At least
Arizona has all the rights to have a turf field. Yeah, they have all the rights to have a turf field, and nobody would bat an eye. Vegas, even Vegas, even out in the desert.
It's infuriating at this point because it's just pure greed. Is all it boils down to. It's because it's cheaper than grass.
And here's what I'm hoping.
The only reason you go with turf at this point.
I saw some insights with I forgot the president that they hired for the new ownership group. Was when they were talking about a new stadium, somebody had asked him a question, would it be turf or real grass? And he said real grass.
You're talking about the Broncos new
if the Broncos, like he was saying, if they end up building a new stadium, it's some interview. I'd have to dive to go find it again. I don't even remember where I saw it.
But it would be new president you're talking about.
The new president said that if they did a new indoor field, it would be grass still.
Yes.
in Denver.
And it has to. That's what I'm saying. We live in the mountains, bro.
Yeah. That field
we've
looks
always
like
had
trash,
green
but it
grass.
helps.
And they've always and the Broncos Stadium has always been one of the best fields, even when it's nasty, even when it's
even
snowing
when
and
it's
blizzarding.
dead.
Yes, they always have had some of the best turf. So
It's
you
that
can't
Kentucky
give me the
bluegrass,
excuse
baby.
That in Carolina or Indianapolis you can't grow grass. If you can't grow grass, bro, then you just don't need to be in the industry of sports.
You know what it is? They run that Kentucky bluegrass, baby.
Right.
The best of the best.
But it is.
And you know what I like about the Broncos field is they did that hybrid too. There's that hybrid turf on the outside on the sidelines. The playing field's all grass.
Yes.
And that's where I get the saving money part.
Irrigation systems and heating systems to keep it pristine. So because again, the Broncos owners aren't cheap jerks.
Rob Bolton,
when you look at Carolina,
all the money in the world.
Even before him with Bolin, Bolin's money he wasn't cheap with. So that's the difference. Why do we have turf? Because there's some cheap old rich white men.
Do you know what the worst? The worst
do
is
the bare minimum.
The worst of the worst is MetLife Stadium. Dude, do you remember San Francisco going into 2020? They lost. Dude, they had to go there back-to-back weeks to play the Giants and the Jets. I would have been so pissed off if we had to go there back-to-back weeks, and they lost 8 starters in the span of 2 weeks on that field.
Right.
2 non-contact injuries.
Yeah, it's infuriating at this point. It should be outlawed. It should be banned.
Sorry for going off the rails, but that's my biggest concern.
What's that?
I'll say sorry for going off the rails, but that was my biggest concern from the Indy.
That's your biggest concern. I completely understand. So, with that all being said, do you believe the Broncos can beat Indy and why?
Oh, 100%. I believe they can. The offense is starting to cook. You know, sure, you're going to be missing out on Javonte, but, you know, you still got a dog of Mike Boone. Melvin's going to be wanting to, you know, gain the trust back. Melvin's going to want to be hot. He's going to, I mean, not hot. He's going to want to go on there and play good, play hard, and keep the ball. Not going to lose it. I mean, the receivers are clicking, dude. You've seen it with Russ and Jerry. Not just Russ and Jerry, but even with KJ and Courtland. So I think the offense is going to be just fine. We're probably going to see a bit of ifs in the run game, you know, when they start to get a feel for it with Boone. And, I just forgot the guy's name that they're going to elevate.
Oh, Zigbo.
Zigbo, yeah, I love that name.
It's a great name, isn't it?
Yeah, I just forgot it. I was just sitting there. How do you pronounce it again? Yeah, Zigbo. And then the defense, obviously, you're missing Randy Gregory. I think this is the last week without Jay Sims. If not this week, it's next week's going to be the last. It's depending on how we get. He
has to be gone for at least 6 weeks.
Okay.
Because they put him on IR. So he has to be gone for at least 6 weeks. So he has to be gone through week 6. Then he can be put on. He can practice with the team and be taken off IR. He can practice up to 2 weeks on IR. But within those 2 weeks, somewhere in those 2 weeks, they have to either bring him back off of IR or they put him on IR permanently for the rest of the season. It'll be within the next 3 weeks. We'll see Jay Sims.
Besides the Raiders game, I don't think we've missed him at all so far. The guys have stepped up. Caden has stepped up. PJ has stepped up. Like, that just shows you how much in depth that roster or that backfield is, and that backfield is, and how good they are.
Yeah, the defensive backfield. Yes, Caden Stearns definitely stepping up. I think against the Raiders, you started seeing some cracks in the deep coverage. You saw Collins get behind the defense a couple of times. You saw Zay Jones get behind the defense a couple of times. And those, I think, they were as much as they were bad coverage, they were actually good scheming by Josh McDaniels. As much as that hurts me to say, it was good scheming by Josh McDaniels.
The man, so what is he? Is he 4 or 3 time Super Bowl champion with that Pats team? 3.
4.
4?
Yeah. No, actually more than that. They have actually never won a Super without Josh McDaniels.
No. They had their OC for the first 3.
For the first 3?
For the first 3, Josh McDaniels wasn't there.
That's right, because it was that dude with the
McDaniels' first year was what is his name?
The guy that went to Notre Dame.
18-1. Yep.
That's right. Charlie Weiss. That was the guy that was there first for the first couple months. That's right.
The one that almost died during their Super Bowl, their second Super Bowl season.
Right. that was Gary Kubiak's Gary.
Yeah.
Ew.
That was what was it? But I think McDaniel's first year was 18-1. So that's where he got Boy Wonder.
Yes,
that's when he became Boy Wonder.
That was the year of Randy Moss and Tom Brady going in.
And that's where everybody called him.
He became Boy Wonder.
Yeah.
On the offense, he was only like 31 or 32 at that point. Like he was stupid young. But yeah, so I agree. The Broncos can. Yeah, the Broncos can beat Indy. It is going to come down to the defense getting back to playing the way that they were before Oakland. Because honestly, if the defense played the way that it did the first 3 weeks against Oakland, the Broncos win that game.
Oh, definitely.
It was not the offense's fault for them losing against Oakland. It was the defense's fault giving up 140 plus yards to the average running back that is Josh Jacobs.
Dude, every time he ran it up the middle, I go, "How are you? You're allowed to hit. It's a part of the game."
I think DJ Jones was hurting more than he let on.
I think so too.
I'm not 100% sure that he should have been in that game.
But there was
moments like in the goal line stop where DJ Jones got in the backfield and made some havoc. But after that, you really didn't see him.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like he really tweaked something when he busted in the backfield and knocked him back 4 yards in that goal line.
You know what the other thing is? I've noticed in the consistency, and I don't think it's going to fall off. It's Pat Surtain. I can't say it. Is every time I think I can't say any more about that guy, more just comes out. He gets better by the week, dude. He's a top 10
every
corner.
Single week.
He's definitely. I would argue top 5.
I'm beyond the point. He's the best corner in the game at this point. It doesn't look at the numbers he's put up against elite wide receivers. I'm not talking about what he's done against
last
Joe
week. Sure, Javonte had some catches, but still, he was all over him.
Not just Javonte. Jamar Chase. I mean, the list goes on. Every
Debo last week.
Every big time wide receiver
Debo
that he's put up against, he shuts down. This is why we stand for Surtain. And he's another reason why the Broncos have a legit chance to win.
And y'all are still saying
I hate to say it because I have Michael Pittman on my fantasy team, but Michael Pittman's not getting
Pittman's getting shut down this week, dude.
He's not. If y'all got Pittman, bench him. He's not getting nothing on Thursday. It's not happening.
Dude. Like, have you seen Twitter?
Is going to be angry for giving up almost 150 yards to, again, the average running back that is Josh Jacobs. The run defense is going to be nasty.
I think they pull off a win.
Backs are on point. Caden Stearns is going to learn from the couple of mistakes that he made against Oakland. And again, this is a compressed week. Not only do the Broncos have to go back to basics, but so does Indy. And Matt Ryan and that offense has looked no better, if not worse, than what the Broncos have.
Who did they play? Oh no, they lost. Who did they lose to this week?
They lost.
Oh, that's on the Titans.
Yeah, I think the Titans, and then they tied the Texans.
Yep, yes, they lost to the Titans.
Team that beat the Chiefs, but also lost to the Titans and tied the Texans. Okay, this team is absolutely beatable. And with their injuries, along with Jonathan Taylor looking suspect, with Michael Pittman being in and out of the lineup, with Darius Leonard being in and out of the lineup, Malik Hooker's been has had some nagging injuries. I know, I love it.
Such a great name, dude.
Yeah. I have to bring it up whenever
Malik Hooker's, dude. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
It's great. It's the GOAT. It's like, I mean, he's on the Mount Rushmore of names of the NFL. So you have to bring it up whenever.
It goes up there with Ocho Cinco.
So yes, the Broncos can beat the Indy because that defense of Indy is a little bit suspect. They are top 10 and legitimately
the defensive backs on that defense is where their weak point is.
They are scary. Exactly. They are scary in the defensive backfield. So let Russ cook. Let Court and KJ and Jerry absolutely torture.
Get more KJ downfield. Get KJ going on the go route.
Right. You might get lucky and Mike Boone might have a career game, but you can't rely on that. You can't put
I just forgot his name again.
Into
that
basket.
elevated back. Jesus, dude.
Yeah. Yes. So as long as they take the shots when they're there, run the ball with consistency and with actual effort and want to, and then let the defense get back to the basics. Let them hit Matt Ryan, because that offensive line of Indy is not as good as people thought it was going to be. Outside of Quentin Nelson, it is very.
Oh, I mean, hasn't he been to the Pro Bowl every season he's been in the league?
Who's that?
Quentin Nelson,
Nelson?
hasn't he been like an
Yes.
All-Pro every
He's
season?
an All-Pro
Pro
and
Bowl?
Pro Bowler. Yeah, every season. Yes. That
The
dude's
guy's
a
an
beast.
absolute dog, so nobody's getting past him. But the rest of the line,
Exactly. So let your big boys eat up Quentin Nelson, and then let your other guys go around on the side. I think Baron Browning's going to go off because he's going to be out on the field a lot more often. He's going to take the place of Randy Gregory. So he's going to get a lot of snaps.
You know what I want to see?
That athleticism is going to show out. So let that happen. I believe the Broncos can win this, will win this. I called the upset of the Colts over the Chiefs 3 months ago. I also said the Broncos would beat the Colts on Thursday Night Football. I have to stick with that. My prediction then was 24-20. I will stick with that. Broncos win like that. 24-20.
All right. I got it here. I do have the Broncos as well. But obviously we've been seeing Russ. Russ is starting to get in the groove. He's starting to cook. I think we're going to see a pretty high-scoring offense this week. Not crazy high. I'm not saying Seahawks-Lions high. That game was insane. Right. Did you watch that game?
That game was fun.
Nuts.
Yes.
It was so fun.
Nuts.
Watching Pete Carroll lose it on the sidelines is always my favorite. Because he's just – I love Pete Carroll. He's a class act.
He is a trip.
And but I think they pull it off here, and I think this is going to be pretty high-scoring even on both sides. Not more for the Colts, but I think the Broncos end up pulling this one away 31-24.
That's not bad. I think it's probably going to land somewhere in between where we are, but I think we're both got a pretty good prediction. Oh, yeah. And I mean, you can call it a homer prediction all you want, but I'm calling it as I say.
Hey, we predicted losses last year.
I called it 3 months ago. Yeah, right. I called it 3 months ago. I can't change my mind now. That's just the kind of guy that I am. I stuck with my Colts and Chiefs prediction, so I'm going to stick with my Colts and my Broncos prediction. And this is actually the two games that I said would change the complexion of the AFC West. So we're going to see if this plays out. I said that the Chiefs would lose to the Colts and the Broncos would win against the Colts, and that would be the difference and make the Broncos win the division by a game. So far, half of the prediction is true. Let's see if the other half comes true.
Oh, yeah. You know, I want to see one thing. I want to see this game. This is something real quick. You remember last year in the Chiefs game when they kept bringing Pat up to rush the edge?
Yes.
When they got Mahomes twice with them, I think. I want to see some of that this week. Because, no Randy Gregory. I would like to see, on some of those pressure plays, bring Pat around the edge, dude. Go hit Matt Ryan. I think
we will see some more blitzing because of Gregory. Because that's one thing that I've been championing for the first 4 weeks is that Evero has been able to scheme guys getting there with just 4. Man.
I can't say enough about that guy.
If he is not a head coach after this season, if his defense,
if he's not the Broncos head, no, I'm joking. Could you imagine?
No. That would be insane. Even though if Hackett keeps coaching the way that he is, it's a possibility.
Dude, I'll take EJ any day of the week.
Hackett's going to change.
Yeah, I do too.
That the offense is going to get better. That the defense is going to go back to playing the way they were the first 3 weeks, and that the Broncos are going to right the ship, and that they're going to show everybody is absolutely full of themselves by saying the Broncos are done after 4 games and a 2-2 record. That is the worst take that I've heard so far. So y'all remember and keep that energy here in about a month when this team is still fighting for first place with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think on that, it's a good place to go ahead and end that. We gave y'all a little bit of extra content because we haven't been around.
No, I'm hungry.
We will be back on our new slot right here, Monday night, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, to give you all the Broncos content that you need every week. Also, restarting every other podcast as well. We're going to be having podcasts with Callie and doing
Get Callie to do something again finally.
Yep, we're going to do something again finally. Also, Amato. Me and him are going to be bringing back Nug Life. And we have a couple other things in the works for
tonight.
Y'all. Yes, that was my next thing is we have Nuggets tonight. First time in over 330 days that we get to see MPJ, Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, and Aaron Gordon all together. So, I think right now, 8 minutes ago, the game started.
Say they just started.
Yeah, they just started. So make sure y'all go on over to Altitude if you got it. If you don't, I'm sorry, you're screwed. That's the only way you're going to watch them right now.
Crunky, you cheap bastard.
So make sure that you go ahead and check them out if you're into basketball. The preseason starts tonight. Again, we'll have all the analysis of all of the preseason games this week on Nug Life on Saturday. Also, preseason for the NHL is starting up. So we will have all the analysis with Callie on Sasquatch Says on Friday, this week and next, and then Saturday, the 2 weeks after. We'll explain all of that, how the schedule is going to work with Sasquatch Says on Sasquatch Says this coming Friday. It's going to be a little crazy, but just watch us there, and we'll make it make sense for you. But make sure y'all stick around, as y'all see down here. Make sure you like and subscribe. All the links are in the description. You don't have to go searching for us. Yep, Dylan Miles 147 on Twitter. We are at over 4,300 followers on Twitter now for The Answer is 42. Let's go, y'all. Goats are the best. Thank you all. Remember, hit that like button. All of the red buttons. Launch the nukes. Pave the way.
It's that degree, baby. It's that degree.
Yeah, yes, sir. So, again, it's always free for you, but it's priceless for us. For the Breakin' Broncos podcast, I'm your host, Dan Weststein. That's Dylan Miles. And for Tay 42, don't question the blue.